and love, peace and love, peace and love. Hey, everybody, this is your sister Nayera, your transformational life coach, speaker, master retreat leader, and that's right, your host as the Heal on Purpose podcast, presented to you by the Repair of the Black Family. I am truly excited once again to bring forth to you another episode that is going to provide healing, transformation, answers, solutions to your everyday family matters. We specialize in eradicating generational drama, limiting beliefs, and self sabotaging behavior patterns. And today, once again, I'm bringing forth a guest that's going to have answers to be able to help you apply in your everyday life. And so, as you roll up on my podcast, that's right, as you roll up on my podcast, if you are listening live via Facebook, Instagram, or any of the social media platforms, I'm going to ask that you like and follow this page. Drop me some yellow hearts if you are really rolling with the Repair of the Black Family. You can support us in getting those stars right down in the comments. And if you are listening on our YouTube channel, we're going to ask that you like and follow the YouTube channel so you can stay connected to Heal on Purpose and the Repair of the Black Family. And if you are listening via podcast on all of the major platforms, we also ask that you like and follow the podcast and give us a review. With that being said, no further ado, I am truly excited because I have my good friend, my sister, and look, my loctician. Y'all see my hair out today, girl. Look, I had to wear my hair out today because my loctician is on here and I want to represent her well, okay, and her work well. And so I'm going to definitely go ahead and read her bio. And again, if y'all know, like I know, y'all should have y'all some tea and some notes because we're going to give y'all some tea on here today. And so my beautiful sister, Marketa Robinson, she is a mother, a business owner. She has 2 children. She's a member of Doom Dole. Forgive me if I said that wrong because she's going to talk about it. 32 years of African dance. She's been a member of it, and she's also taught it for 14 years. Above all, she's a sister, she's a friend, and she is the bomb.com, my beautiful hairdresser, my beautiful loctician. So I'm going to bring her in so that we can go ahead and get this conversation started. Welcome, Marketa.
Good morning.
I am so happy to have you here on the Heal on Purpose podcast, because generally you got your hands in my head, but today we get to have a conversation face to face before the world.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I wouldn't have it no other way. As I was thinking about us talking on the podcast, one of the things that came up for me, is sisterhood, mm-hmm. and how important that is for, Black women in particular to have sisterhood, right? Because we have been so divided for many years, for many reasons. But I believe that we are now locked in. Yeah, so you are truly my sister. So Marketa, you have 2 children. What are the names of your children?
My oldest is Keanu, that's my son, and he's 20. And then my daughter is Anijah, and she's 17.
All right. And so you got a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old. And are you married, for the listener, for those who want to know?
No longer. I am divorced. Divorced happily.
Okay.
But yeah, not at the...
Right. Yes, ma'am. So were you born and raised here in St. Petersburg?
Yes, I was. My predominantly most of my family is still in St. Pete. My grandmother and my grandfather are from Reddick, Florida. And then they came down here to St. Pete when my mom was 2. So I practically definitely raised here, and just stayed pretty much in different areas in throughout Pinellas County.
Wow. So, as we read in your bio, you are a African dance teacher.
Yes.
You've been doing it since you was 14 years old. And you've been with one company for over 32 years. Wow, you talk about consistency.
Yes.
That's definitely some consistency, commitment, and dedication. Tell us about this African dance.
Okay, so the company is named Dundu Dole Urban African Ballet, which was started by our founder, who is Jay Henson, or everybody knows her as Mama J. And she, I'm sure most people have probably heard her because of the fact that she's been around. She started the company in 1991 when she came down here. She's originally from Jersey, and she started the company up there, which included her daughters and some of their um, high school friends or so. But once she moved down here to Florida, she had initially became the director of a girls club, which is where I met her because my sister and I were going there after school. We were living in Largo, and the girls club center was in Rainbow Village, like by Ridgecrest. And somehow it got out that she, did African dancing. And so once uh someone found out about that, they wanted us to perform, like they wanted her to do a show for them. And none of the girls at the girls club center had ever did African dance, and we probably didn't even know where Africa was. Maybe I know
Okay.
I did it. But so, and we used to like have these dance battles back in the back room, on certain days. And she would come and she would just watch us, see, who kind of caught on to stuff, who wasn't shy. And so she rounded up, at the time it might have been about like 15 or so of us, and took us to Ridgecrest Park and just kind of like showed us movements to see who could pick up on stuff, who kind of naturally could do everything. And that's how she really started the company with us back in 1991.
Wow. And so, and the company is world renowned,
Yeah.
right? It's world renowned.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
so Marketa, I mean, here you are, you 14 years old.
Well, I was 8 when I
Oh,
started.
you was 8.
Yeah, I was 8 when like I first met her and I was going there and she first started. I was actually 8 years old when I started with her company. I started teaching within the company at 14.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you was 8 years old. How has that's long, that's consistency. How has this impacted your life, with, having this type of culture, refinement, this knowingness. And like you said, at 8, who even knew where Africa was? How has this impacted your life?
It's made such a big difference. Because no, unfortunately, like um we weren't like being taught anything about Africa and our beginnings and our roots and everything. So we were just naive, pretty much ignorant to any of that. And then once we were able to get within her company and meet her, because she was so well versed in it, she had been dancing pretty much all her life. She danced with the Dance Theater of Harlem. She then started working with like master dancers from Africa, a gentleman named Logi, who was like a big impact, to where now was able to take that culture and bring it to us, which then helped us because we started learning about our own history. About Africa in particular. If you didn't know much about slavery, we started to learn all about that and how all of that affected us to this day. And like just being in a group in particular helped, because a lot of times back, even when I was younger, a lot of kids, we didn't have a lot of outlets. You know what I mean? We would be around in the neighborhood and everything, but easily we could have gotten in a lot of trouble, you know what I'm saying? But this became like an outlet for us, definitely, because it was dancing. Even though it was new to us and something we weren't really experienced with, we were able to experience something new that was part of our culture as well too. So that was definitely like a big impact at first. It also allowed us to build like these bonds, because a lot of us who were in the dance, who are in the dance group still, we're all still like sisters and brothers. We don't see each other like, oh, that's like my friend. No, we've grown up together. Most of us started 8 to 10 years old, and we've been around each other all our life. So we were able to build these lasting friendships and brotherhood, sisterhood with people we didn't even know. And now everybody sees us. We're all still together. We all still communicate. Because within my time of being in the company, being one of the original members, I've been able to see like three different companies within this one company, because we start off with a group of kids, we get older, everybody migrate out. So then we started a new one, because all of throughout the company it's always been like kid based, so it
Mm.
always started with kids, and then as we get older we go into different arenas of our life and everything. But we've all stayed in touch. Most people come back. A lot of the company members have went off to dance, through Ailey, all these different companies, elsewhere, and then they're able to go and kind of excel within other companies, learn different type of dancing techniques where they're able to bring back to our company and teach within our company as well too. So that's been like a big impact. And then for me, I know it helped a lot, because I also was able to, even once I had kids, I was able to bring my kids into the company, where like now my son is one of the lead drummers in our company, and he's been drumming since he was 1 year old, and he's
Come
20.
on now.
um, and most of the well, they're not kids anymore, but now like they started off as kids. Most of the members had their own children, so it didn't, it wasn't just like, oh, it was with us and then it
Right.
stopped. It went from generation to generation, and so you see all these generations able to help keep this legacy alive for Dudu Dole, which is what we want to do, and even prosper and start teaching on our own, going off where we've made names for ourselves within the African dance world, where people, we go different places, they know us either by our dancing style. I've been to DC dancing and they're like, oh, you're with that Florida company. I could tell, without having a shirt on with my name on it or the company name on it. So it's made such a big difference with being able to do something I love, being able to teach within the community, because I teach classes at Enoch Davis Center as well, and just in the community in particular, we've taught classes at the Royal Theater, um, the different museums. So it's been really impactful in just so many different ways.
I mean, I absolutely can attest to that. Um, of just the love that Dundule as a community, Mama J as the owner has shown in this community, and in particular has directly impacted my family. You
Mhm.
know, Mama J, there's never a time that she has not brought the dance company to perform at any one of my events. I mean, when Sister Donna Farrakhan came, she performed. She had the dancers. When I had something at a church, I'll call her up. She will bring the dancers. We did Dr. Umar. She brought the dancers. I mean, there has never been a time that the company has not enriched me as an individual, my family, my children grew up in Dundule Dance Company. I wanted them to take it further. Now I got my grandchildren in there. So we're talking about generations, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And and then you just performed at my 50th birthday, and I mean it was absolutely amazing. And I truly, I'm all into the ancestors, girl. I felt the ancestors come on in. Y'all, you gave us a beautiful dance. At my party, it was like a dance of royalty,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And so, could you tell us a little bit? Just name that dance so we can edify the listening audience on the impact of. It's not just we out here just dancing African, but there's always a meaning to something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the dance that we went over was called Lamban, which Lamban is a dance for the griots and the jollies, as they call it. And it was done in like the King's Courtyard. It's one of their older dances where you'll see it. You go to different conferences, different shows, you'll usually see that particular dance, because that dance was done in the King's Courtyard for like his pleasure or so. And it's done for the five, it also would be done for like the five passages of life that people tend to go through in life, which is birth is the first one, puberty is the second one, marriage is the third one, possession, where they're saying like possession and spirituality normally takes place, and then death is the last one. So if any of those passages would happen, Lombard would be like the initial dance that they would go to. Definitely a dance for like for royalty. So it's one of the ones that is done quite a bit.
Yes, absolutely. Woo, that was powerful, and I'm just happy to have you in my life. And so, as we think about changing generations and generational curses and generational traumas, you have your son into the African dance. How important it is being a mother, being a dance teacher, how important it is to be a mentor.
It's extremely, extremely important for me. You always want to be like a good example, not only for your kids, but then other kids in the community, because you never know like what these kids are going through. Especially like I said, when we were younger, we didn't have an outlet. We didn't have a lot to run to where, we just felt safe. So being able to help kids in the community, not just my kids, but other kids feel like, hey, I have somewhere I can go. I can dance. I won't be judged. I can look up to this person. I can see like, whatever adversities they've been through in life, I can still make it here too. Because
Mhm.
within the companies, it hasn't been easy for any of us. It's, we've had our own personal adversities going on through our life, but still able to come and show up and, give other people hope, inspiration, who want to dance. I mean, because we teach as young as 2-year-old all the way up to they can be 80 years, or they can be 100. As long as they can move, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So being able to be even looked at as a mentor, to where I've had kids or some of my members that used to be in a group when, I was just a little bit older than them. I wasn't really like that much older when I look at it. But they see me and Miss Marketa, now they're bringing their kids to the dance classes. Like, this was so great just to see you still doing it. It's so good and so inspiring. So, that feels good to hear people still look up to you and look to you like a mentor, because of, you don't know how you impacted their lives back then.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I find it that, even striving to be a mentor, be an example, and do all of these things, we still have our own personal life,
Right.
right? And so as you going through and you teach and dance, you got all these things. At what point in your life where you just had to look at it, you know what, and I'm going through something right now.
Mhm.
And how did you get over, or how did you get through it? Like, what was that one thing that was in your life that became, that point? I would say like a pivotal point. You knew that you was going through it and
Mhm.
you needed that help.
Um, whew. There's been a few incidents.
Okay, anyone you want to share?
Yeah. Um, well, there was a point. Okay, so I can really touch bases on two major things that happened in my life that definitely changed the course. So the first incident that happened was with my son, where I was dating a young man. I had came out of a relationship with my son's father, had been on and off for years. And I met a dude that just, oh my God, he seemed so great, so awesome, just loved me and my kids, which turned out to be the total opposite, where he ended up hitting my son and lacerating his liver, to where my kids were taken out of my custody for it went on for like 2 years. So within that time, I was still like I was still going to dance class. No, like nobody ever knew anything had happened. I was like keeping it all to myself, still going to dance class, still now having people like trying to charge me with child neglect for what was happening, having a criminal case now up against me, stuff I had never been through ever in my life. I had never seen the courthouse a day in my life. So, and now I'm like going through all this stuff where I was just like, this is a lot. This is a lot going on. And I'm a pretty private person where I won't tell people what I'm going through. I'm just a Virgo. So
But I was just gonna say that's just the Virgo trait in us, but it's okay, ma'am. I understand you talking to your fellow sister over here.
no, I was especially guarded back then too, to where I didn't want to show people like, oh my God, I got this going on in my life. I got these kind of flaws. I'm not this perfect person that that's what people see you as, because all they see you is you dancing, you this great dancer. Oh, I'm sure everything's great in her life, but really at that time, my life was in shambles. I was going through it to where eventually I had to break down, definitely tell the director of our company, Mama J, and then tell my two closest friends at the time, because I was like going through depression once they took my kids out of my custody. Now you have some, people, the state or what, telling you when you can see your kids, doing visits with them. And I'm like, these are kids I had that I went through labor with, that pain, like not you guys. And
Right.
then you having to prove you're not this type of person that they're saying you are. Because in the eyes of the law, you're neglectful parent, when you as a person know, like, that's not me. That's not the kind of person I am. And everybody else that knows you knows that too. So it was a process with that alone. From that happened in 2007. Wait a minute. Because my son at the time was only 3 and my daughter was 10 months old. And that went on for, like I said, a couple years, to where it kind of commenced in up until 2008, where the court and all of that stuff was done. But then you still have the backlash of, wow, this is on my arrest record, I can't get this sealed yet. I was in nursing then too, so that altered so much in my life. That one particular incident altered it pretty much all the way up until, I say, about 2016, 2017, literally, to where I was,
Wow.
yeah.
Marketa, we have had some real candid conversations, and I never knew this aspect. I mean, I'm just sitting here like, wow, because just looking at you, looking at your accomplishments, just your whole character, I would have never
Mhm.
known that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to, and this is definitely for those who are listening that may be in a situation or and prevent any situations that can come up, especially when it comes to dating and having, men or women. What was the warning sign? Because here it is, this person presented himself as a person that loved you, that loved your children. Like what happened that you was like, whoa, in the relationship, to the point where your son got injured?
Well, like I said, yeah, at first he seemed like the perfect gentleman, nice, but there was signs there, because he wasn't really a person that was working at the time. I was working, needing to like borrow my car or drop me off to work. Um, he used to smoke weed a lot and do things like that. Like, he just wasn't a person that was getting up, a go-getter. And like men that I see now that are like great potential men, are great men in particular, that would be able to even run a household. you know he's moving in with me and my children, not us moving in with him. So
Right.
it was so many red flags. Like, at the time, I'm in my early 20s, I didn't see. All I was like, after coming out of such a broken relationship with my son's father, it was just more so like, okay, I finally have somebody that's into me and like really like me and my kids, thinking that was it. But a week before the incident happened with my son, he and I got into an altercation where he became physical with me. And I, called the police and everything. And they told me I couldn't like kick him out the household because he had been there for at least like 6 months. And they were like, he's getting mail here, so you just can't kick him out. And I was like, okay. And then they were saying like I was the aggressor because he had marks on him for me like defending myself, but I looked like the aggressor. So it was like all against me. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't kick him out. I can't do this. And then within a week of that happening, that incident occurred with my son, where it came out eventually like that guy was not even good for me. He never actually like really liked me. He was like an enemy of Keanu's father, which I didn't know at the time because I wasn't like a street person. I didn't know much about the streets and who knows this and who knows this person. But his whole motive, like for dating me, was to get back at Keanu's father. And his way of also doing that was hurting Keanu to get back at his father for whatever past events that they had had.
Oh, wow. Whew. So, okay, beautiful. So how did you from that point, or in the, I know that you said it was two incidents. How did you like get into your healing?
A lot of that came through like it took a while because for a while I blamed myself, of course, for the incident with my kids and all that happened. I went through like a state of depression because I was like coming home by myself at this point. My kids weren't there, so it took a long time for me to even be able to like talk about the incident without crying because I was just so hurt. And I'm like, look how people look at me now. Like I'm not this person that people think I am, you know, or how they saw me. I was like, now I'm looked at like this horrible individual. So I definitely had to go through therapy. I had to get therapy and learn first like how to forgive myself, especially from that, because once my kids were taken out of my custody, it wasn't like, oh, I was just like this absentee mom that wasn't going to get my kids back. I was like, absolutely not. Nobody's going to love my children and take care of my children like me. So that was like my first mission. So I went through parenting classes, whatever they told me to do, I was going to do to make as part of like the healing process too. And in the midst of that, you know, you have to sit and tell yourself, okay, although this incident happened, what was your blame in this? You know what I mean? Like it couldn't have happened without you lacking something. So I had to be able to like dig within deep and acknowledge myself, um,
Mhm.
and acknowledge where I went wrong, what I was doing wrong as a mother, as a person in particular, for bringing that type of wrong, you know, horrible person into my life as well. Um, so it started with therapy, definitely therapy, and being able to recognize my own flaws and forgive myself for just not being a perfect person anyhow, you know, and putting so much criticism on myself because I am a person where I'll criticize myself. I'm my biggest critic. It doesn't even have to be other people. Um, so starting there, and then being able to have like really good friends who been through stuff too. They introducing me like to certain books to be able to read as part of my healing process. Um, I remember reading. It's called The Artist's Way. My god brother Sabrat Warren introduced that book to me, which was really a good book and a pivotal book for me. I read Loving What is by a woman named Byron Katie. That was a really good book that helped. What else did I read? I read so many. It is, I can never pronounce her name correctly. The one who always fix people.
Yala.
Yeah, I can never pronounce her. She had a book in the meantime that I've read quite a few times at different points in my life. But all of those, like being able to read some of those books at different places in my life as I healed, helped, because I'll read a book in one stage of my life and then I'll go back and read it again and see how that has altered. Um, I think the other one was The Purpose of Prayer or Power. I forget. It's by Stormy. I forget the lady's last name
I
is
know
what.
who you're talking about. Oh my gosh, the power of the praying woman.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yes.
read that one really, really helped the most, and like absolutely getting back in church because you know I had kind of strayed away from that. I had always been introduced as far as church and being brought up in it in that foundation. But you know, as I got older, I stray away from it and oh man, church is boring, is this, I can't relate. Until you have something real deep happen to you and you
Bring
don't
you back.
exactly you don't have nobody else to call on but God, because it got to that point where it was like I was there. I was there at my lowest point where I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna stay here, or I'll never get my kids back. I'll never be able to do what I want to do. The me dancing helped because that became my biggest outlet, and everybody didn't know what I was going through. But like I said, the ones I needed to know did, and was always praying for me. They were there for me, even with my court dates. They were showing up. They were coming, talking on my behalf, which really helped and be able to help the course to see like, okay, this was a one-time incident. This isn't this young lady's history. I didn't have a record. Beyond that happening and me being charged with child neglect at that time, still don't have a record. You know, because that just wasn't me as a person. It wasn't me as a mother. Everyone that knows me to this day and knew me then knew my kids have always been like my world, who I always have protected. So It's been a long journey to
It's
heal.
been a long journey, but look, but I'll say this, especially for those that's listening, you're in the process,
Hmm.
right? And that would be a key factor to anyone. Just get in a process and be in that process, and right where you are, God is. And
Yes.
so as I was listening to you, and I know you now, but I didn't know you then, what would you say is the difference from the Marketa then? I
Mhm.
think you kind of answered, but I just want to be more specific or detailed with that. And the Marketa now, what is the difference between that Marketa and this Marketa? That's a one part question. And the second question to that is what the Marketa now will tell the Marketa back then in this now moment.
Yep. So the Marquita now was definitely I wasn't evolved to where I'm at now. I thought I was like a woman and ready to take on all this and I could do this and that. And I wasn't. There was a lot of learning I needed to do about myself as well too, in order to be able to be like a better person, a better mother. Um, I just wasn't who I am now. You know what I'm saying? I was still learning. I was still learning me. I was still learning how to be a woman to where I'm at now. All of those well, that one particular adversity most definitely changed me as a person in particular, just with being able to learn how to trust others, how to maneuver with others as well too. As even as part as like as a parent and just as a woman in particular. So who I am now is the more mature Marquita, because that was Marquita in my 20s, who, just was ignorant on a lot of things on life in particular, on the things that I was being blessed with. It was just a lot of stuff that I would take for granted back then as opposed to who I am now. Everything is very important to me. Every, thing I'm grateful for, waking up, being able to even have bared children, being able to breathe, have your senses, to where you can get up every day, have health, being able to still dance at I'm 40 and moving with kids that are like 7 is a lot. So it's just a whole maturity aspect and growth that I had to go through and challenges that actually have helped me be who I am now. Um, and if I had to like talk to the Marquita back then, I would definitely have told myself like be patient and work on you and love yourself. Cause I didn't back then. I can't really say that I love myself as a woman and as a person, and it reflected through the type of men I was dealing with. But fortunately enough, it didn't stop me from still be able to go and be able to glow and evolve into who I am now. So I would just tell myself like love yourself. Definitely love yourself and who you are, accept who you are, and work on her and become the best version of yourself
Mm,
by yourself first.
powerful. All right. And I believe, that we should ask ourselves those types of questions and really address those questions to our younger self, because that's healing that inner child. And
Yep.
so that was the purpose of me asking that question, especially for those that's listening. We have to take that time out, those moments of reflections, to engage with that younger self, to heal that younger self. So thank you so much for being vulnerable. Thank you so much for being transparent, on so many levels that you've been able to share with us tonight. And so I say this to say all of that. Now, girl, my hair slay. And I don't usually take my hair all the way out, but I took it out because we blended by the hair. Right. And it truly does. I mean, it really like connects you, because I can go anywhere around the world, girl, and people are like, oh, you got sister lives, and it's an automatic conversation, especially for those that have them. It really connects us. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your sister lives. How did you get into this?
So initially, I had been seeing it for I had a best friend at the time when I was in my I was like 20, 21 when she started her journey. And back then, the sister like it wasn't a movement like it is now. Like back then, the only um people I knew that did them was they were called Anako Nappy at the time, and their shop was off of 62nd Avenue South in the Plaza where it used to be like a DMV was there and all of that. Right now, I think it's cash and carry, and they were in there. And she and I were best friends. We were in the same dance group, and we were, both of us were dating the nephews of the owner of the shop at the time. Joyce was in there, and it's like all her and all her sisters. And so I, even back then, it was like I was already manifesting what was going to happen with Hair then, because she got them. And I remember sitting in with her and listening. She was doing her consultation. And we, back then, they used to make you watch a video, and we were like fast forwarding through the video. But I was like, what is this? I was like, what are these? Like, I had never heard of them. And she was like, well, they're just like little locks. They look like micros, and they're more professional looking. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, just sit in with me. So I got to listen to them. I had Joyce back then. She used to do like little banquets where everybody would get up and talk about like how their locks had changed their life. Um, so I used to go. I had went to with my friend to one, and I was just like, I was already being around individuals, not knowing like years later I was going to get into it, because back then I wasn't ready. I tried, and then I wasn't versed on natural hair and how to care for your hair back then, going from having relaxers all my life. So I went for like 6 months without a relaxer, and I was just like, oh no, I can't do this. I don't know what to do with my hair, and end up getting relaxed. But as time passed, sister locks in particular started to become more popular. Natural hair started to become more popular, to where I started gravitating towards that. And by the time I started my locks back in 2015. So I had already been looking for like 2 years. I had been studying them on YouTube. I had been seeing different pictures on Pinterest, saving them. I had a whole playlist in my phone on YouTube of like, oh, my hair gonna look just like this, it's gonna look like that. To where eventually I did a big chop. It was like a right before my birthday. I had did a big chop and chopped off like all the perm, because I was like, no, I don't want to start with straggly ends. I had researched that. Um, and initially I just started wanting to get them myself. And as I was going to a lady named Mofe, and she started my locks up at Nubian Knots in Tampa. And the more I would see her do them, I'm like, Dad, this looked like something like I wanted to do. I started to like self-teach myself, going on YouTube University.
Come
And
on in.
because they have everything on there. But I still hadn't taken the class. I hadn't got to that point. I just knew. I was like, I was doing my daughter's hair, my ex-husband's daughter's hair. We're just like braided. I was like self-teaching myself everything, to where I started to learn about my locks more. The more I started to like them, the more I wanted to get into locks, sister locks in particular, and learn more about them, to where eventually in 2018, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to go take the class, because I want to do these myself. I like the way these make me feel, and other women that I've talked to, how, just they just made us feel better, just being able to wear your own hair. That was always a thing where we were stigmatized, like, oh, Black women hair can't grow long. And so once I got the locks and seeing my hair just boom and take off growing, I'm like, this is not true. Like, this is false. I want to be a part of this movement where I can give correct information to women about their hair and how to take care of it naturally, where they're not having to worry about putting relaxers in their hair that might cause cancer and, all these long-term effects that they don't even know about. So I end up taking a class, and I ended up flying up to Louisville, Kentucky to take the class, because at the time there wasn't really a lot of places that they were doing them in Florida besides Miami. And I was impatient. I didn't want to wait until the Miami class. So I was like, no, I'm flying up here, and took the course. And from that point on, I have been versed in them and just working on them as far as my craft and getting better. Um, so yeah, that's how I
Is
began.
she fast, y'all? I go in there. I'm out of there. I'm out of there in 2 hours. Literally. I mean, y'all really can't see my hair, but I
Yeah.
love my hair. And I can truly say, Marketa, it has been a healing journey for me. I had got out of the perms and I had my regular hair, but I started going through a transition, was doing one of my pivotal points of life, and I was really going through something. And my daughters, this my hair connects me to my daughters too. My daughters gifted me for Mother's Day, and from there, as my hair grow, I grow, or as I grow, my hair grows, right? It's a spiritual connection. It's very healing for me. And yeah, I mean it's just a lot within my locks. But I truly feel like even with you, it connects us, right? It's the energy. It's all energy, and that's why I don't let everybody touch my hair.
Yeah.
But I would say, what would you say for a person that may be interested? Because there's a lot of rumors and stigmas, and maybe even some truth that people say, "Oh, it is dirty," and you can't keep your hair clean, and all of these things.
Mhm. Definitely not true at all. I not true. I think a lot of people when they think of locks, they don't really understand as far as like the different categories and how expansive they are. I think most people they automatically think of like Rastafarians or something like that, and they're gonna have the big locks that stuck together, not even knowing like even with the Rastafarians, there's always a history with that. I was learning that when I went to Jamaica and everything, because Sister Locks wasn't like a big thing over there, and why they, you know, use certain things in their hair. So they're not dirty. They're not dirty at all. I mean, they're dirty if you don't wash them. That's your even if you are loose natural, you don't wash your hair is dirty.
Right.
So like no, locks are definitely a beautiful thing. So and it could be they could be started in so many different forms, which makes them so unique. Whether they're free form, whether they're micro locks, whether they're sister locks, whether they're brother locks, it's like you have so many different aspects and ways that you can start them, and they still grow and they flourish. I've loved the fact and just learning so much about them every day because there are so many different forms ways to protect them. Your hair is your crown, and like you said about the energy, that is a big thing. Even with locks, it's a big thing about who touches your hair, how you cleanse your hair. Your hair is part of your temple, your body in particular, so you want to keep that clean. And it's hair, it's still natural hair that you would cleanse, you would wash. It's just like any other thing that you have to keep clean your body as well too. So I know that's been like a thing where people they automatically associate that with dirtiness, but that's not the case. It's like that's just you as a person that has, if you're not clean, your hair is not going to be clean. I've like so many people different, I've done so many different heads now to where that's like it's not the case. I like seeing the different characteristics of people hair and how everybody's hair looks different and everybody's journey is different. So it's like if you are thinking about getting locks and it's really something you want to do, definitely research to figure out what form of locks you want to do first. Learn the history about them and know why you're getting them. It could be a spiritual journey for some people. Like a lot of people, it has been that it connects you in some form of a way to something, if that's how you want to go that route. But study them like you do anything else. Study them, learn everything about them that you want to know, how you want to start, how they need to be cleansed, do consultations, and don't let what others say influence you to the point where it's kind of makes you stray away from them because they're so stigmatized. But it's like learn them yourself, do your own research, and see if that's for you, if locks are for you, because they may or may not be, but they definitely could be life changing for a lot of individuals. I know they have been.
Definitely for me, and I tell my husband all the time, like I compliment my hair every day. I compliment her literally every single day. I'm like, girl, I love you so much,
Mhm.
right? So you talked about, okay, so let's just go into the name. Why Sister Locks? Why is it called Sister Locks?
um Well, I know the lady, which is Joanne Carroll. I think I'm probably saying her name wrong, but Cornwell is her name. She wanted to form Sister Locks in particular because of the fact she wanted like a professional look where women and men can use, because there's a lot of people that work in corporate, America, that have them as well too. And she wanted something that would still be professional that we could utilize for our hair, to stray away from relaxers, a natural locking system that didn't require a lot of products having to be put in your hair, anything that was going to affect us in a terrible way. So I can't really particularly say why she chose Sister Lock for the name in particular. But it was what she came up with that has, fortunately enough, became such a big movement for so many different people. I mean, because it's worldwide. It doesn't just stop like within our community. You go anywhere, in different countries, in different states now, and you see sister locks, you see brother locks, and even with her starting from there, it's created a movement where there's now all different locks, and people are feeling more comfortable with being their natural self, embracing who they are with locks. It has definitely helped people with their self-esteem, because you, for so long, it's like society has made you think this is only beautiful, if you have the relaxers. And that's not to take away from people who still do relaxers and whatever the case may be, but for those who wanted like a platform from natural hair, she definitely helped start with that, as far as with the locks, to where now people are more comfortable when embracing them and wearing them and having out their natural hair and feeling beautiful and feeling great without being like kicked down like it's such a bad thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a movement, y'all. We got a whole culture going on with these sister locks. And by the way, my mom has sister locks, and hers is like down her back. Marquita knows this because she does both of our hair. My mom has sister locks down her back. She had hers years before mine. However, I am catching her because I know she's gonna probably watch this. I am into. I always tell my mom, I'm gonna rain your hair down. I'm gonna catch you and I'm gonna pass you. So I'll be taking my hair, skin, nail vitamins. That I sell. That's a plug-in. I sell these hair, skin, nails, vitamins. Marquita, my hair growing right, and it's growing
Yes,
fast.
yes, it is. I wish I had we could put up some before and after pictures, because it was,
Yes.
when you first came to me, it may have been like right here by the side of your neck to where it is now.
Yes.
It's amazing. The growth is amazing.
And I just started talking about it, but she got growing hands, y'all. Like she really does. She got good energy. I
Yes.
mean, her shop is just amazing. We're about to go into the business aspect. Her shop is just amazing. She gives excellent customer service, and it's truly a ministry from my viewpoint and my experience with you, Marquita. So let's talk about it. Okay, so you went from I just like this,
Mhm.
you study. Now you got a full-fledged business.
Yes.
So let's talk about the business. How has it been being a mother in your own personal healing journey, right? To you self-teach yourself, you're African teacher, African dance teacher, you're going all around the world dancing, but you still have time for a business. How was it transitioning into a business, a full-fledged business?
It was intimidating at first, because when I started doing the sister locks, I was doing them from home. And I did them out of my apartment. I think I did it for like 2 years, because once I really got serious about it, because when I first went and took the class in 2018, it was still a challenge. Like my best friend, her name is Siobhan. Siobhan Walker now, because she just got married. But she was my first client, my first guinea pig, you might as well say, because even though like you take the classes like the foundation, you haven't touched anybody's head, you haven't really jumped out there, and you have to in order to be, get certified. So she was my first client, coming with 12 inches of hair too. I didn't even start with somebody like with a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, this will be easy. Took me like a month to do her hair, a month to do her hair. So where I was ready to like, I am about to give up on this. I was like, no, this is too much. My body hurting. And she was like, no, Keita, you're going to be better. Because I had always said, like, even before, I was like, I'm going to have my own shop. I remember I wrote it down on a piece of paper and stuck it in my Bible. I was like, I'm going to have my own shop. I was like, I'm going to be doing locks, all this stuff that like I'm actually doing now. I said it then, but I wasn't actually doing it. So at first I was going to give up after her, because it was just like, this was the most horrible experience ever. And I did a few more people hair in my dance group who trusted me, because they was like, no, this Keita, she know what she doing. And I did not. But I mean, I had the foundation, but I really didn't. And so eventually, I was getting my own hair service by a gentleman named Carlos. And Carlos had been doing locks forever now. Like he's super talented, super great. He started off doing braids, comb twists. That was like he was known in St. Pete, and then he became known for doing sister locks and brother locks. And after I migrated from being with Mofe for a while, I think she did my hair for about a year and a half, and eventually I ended up with Carlos. That's when I really got like the help and the push I needed, because he was saying, whenever I had started going to him before I even took the class. And he was like, if you ever take the class, I'll help you, I'll train you. And I never told him that I took the class until one day he was doing my hair and I started crying, and I was like, I'm so tired. I was like, I'm about to give up on this. And he's like, what? He's like, you went and took the class? And I said, yeah. He's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, this is so hard. And he's like, girl, I'll help you. And so he started to like train me and help me to where it got easier. And then COVID struck, that whole big thing struck to where we had to shut down. If you were in a salon, anything like that, you had to shut down. And that's why I end up starting to do them out of my home a lot more too, because I did go and work in Mofe's shop for about 6 months or so as well after I took the class. And then I didn't, like, as far as the atmosphere, I've always been like a loner, and I didn't like that. Like working with others, being in another person's shop, I always knew I was like, no, I want my own. So I'm gonna have to start gravitating towards somewhere with like doing that and building my clientele. Um, so I started off, there was a young lady, she was doing locks as well too in St. Pete, and she was getting ready to move to Nevada, I believe it was, with her husband. And I ended up corresponding with her, like, hey, I do locks. I do sister locks. I'm on Facebook. It says you're moving if you need to send your clients somewhere. And she was like, oh my God, thanks. And so she ended up sending me like, it was like 15 of her clients at the time, which made, I was like, oh, finally, I got some clients. And I started working on their hair. And when COVID hit, and we were shut down and I was still doing hair from home, Carlos wasn't comfortable at first with like opening back up because he was also doing hair out of his apartment. And he wasn't comfortable. And so when I opened back up, he was like, may I send my clients to you? And I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. Because he
Shout
trusted
out to Carlos because
me.
he sent me to you.
Yes. And he trusted me. He had seen my work. He had been working with me. I just didn't know how many clients he had at the time, which I think he ended up sending me. It had to be like 60 people. And where I was like, oh crap. I went from having my cute little 15, 20 people to now taking on his clients. And that's what really helped and motivate me even more to being like, okay, if you're going to do this professionally, you're going to have to start working. And my first steps was like building up my clients, which I got from the young lady and then Carlos as well too. From there, it was more so, okay, you say you want to do this professionally, you have to really go in 100%. You have to perfect this. You have to be able to get quicker with, because I just remember always in my head, remembering what Mofe used to say when I was in her shop. She used to always be like, time is money, Marketa. Time is money. Like, you're going to have to get faster. Because I wasn't fast at first with the retights. I was slow as ever. It was taking me like 4, 5, 6 hours to do just a retight. And I'm like, I gotta get better. I like, my whole thing was always challenge myself. Like, I became my biggest challenger to myself. I didn't care what nobody else was doing. It was like me. And at working out of my home, as I got better, as I started building up my clients, it really got to a point where I couldn't stay in my apartment. Like, I had to become more professional, and I wanted to, because I was, looking at like those I admire on Instagram, like the ladies I still follow to this day, where I'm like, dad, they have home salons or they're either in a salon. I was like, I want a more professional atmosphere for my own clients. I was like, this isn't fair to bring them to my house and I'm charging them money, and this is out my house. So I was like, no, they deserve better. So at that point, I was like, I want to be in a shop. I still never did like a business plan. I just was like going in without taking the baby steps. And I just happened to, like, God presented the opportunity of the shop in Clearwater that I worked there for 2 years. It was in a My Salon Suites. So I migrated from my apartment to the My Salon Suites, where that was like the first real step of professionalism for me, where I'm like, good. Now I'm somewhere where I can wash my client's hair, where they ain't got to be bent over in my kitchen sink, look, just so unprofessional, and like really give them the atmosphere that, that you guys deserve, where, it was professional. Um, so starting there really helped me. And within that time, like at that point, then it was like, okay, you got to get business cards because now you're here. You got to learn how to get on some type of booking site that'll help you be able to learn QuickBooks and all this stuff. I knew I wanted to go further, so then I end up doing it's called the Catch program for black entrepreneurs who are having businesses, and you want longevity with them. I knew, I was like, I don't want this to be just a in and out thing, a one-time thing. I want longevity within my business. So I took that business course that was like 8 weeks long, but it was like they brought on a platform of individuals that taught you everything. Like, you literally, if you want to are starting up a business, the Catch program is the way to go. They are really great for first time business owners because you're gonna get to meet so many different people in the industries within business, just as far as is marketing, having to take on all this stuff and learn about this, where I'm still learning even now. um so now I this I got a new shop that wasn't with my salon suite because I was like, no, I want my own shop. I want to be able to bring my kids in to work for me. I want to be able to have a barber, other stylists, people that may have even been starting where I was starting from and just need somewhere to go to start. Somebody to trust them to help guide them as well too, from um my own experiences. So now I'm in my shop now that's much bigger than
And it's amazing.
yeah, it looks great. It's still a
Yeah.
work. I'm still working it out with the decor and doing all that. 'Cause I signed my lease. That was back in like November 15th and moved up in here in like December, where I really start utilizing the space and getting used to like running stuff now.
Right.
So
Being boss lady.
yes, yes, and it feels good. And then I think about everything I put on that list. I was like, Dad, everything I talked about, everything I said I wanted to do, I'm actually doing. My god brother reminds me of that. My god brother's a Brock because he's in New York, and he'll call me like, Keita, you remember when you said you were going to do this and that? And he's like, you're actually doing it. And I'm like, I really am. I was like, that's crazy. That is, but that's not crazy. That's
Absolutely.
God. That's
Absolutely. It's definitely God, and it's the power of being
mm,
it is,
yeah,
and I can truly say I've witnessed your master manifesting, okay? Because I started out in your home,
yes.
right? When we was in that little corner, then
Yes.
we moved to the suites, and now we are here. Started right there, and now we're here. So, and just being a woman of God, you definitely are into your godlyhood, just being a woman of God, your whole energy personifies that. You emulate that energy of when somebody come to you, they come into a woman of God. And so, as a master manifester, what would you tell the listening audience one thing about manifesting?
I would say that it absolutely is true. I know a lot of people, it's like a cliche to them. They hear this, they hear that, but words are really powerful. Your thoughts are really powerful. And it's like, you want something, speak it first. Definitely speak it, write it down. The vision boards, do all of that, because manifestation is absolutely true. You speak to God what you want and tell him how exactly what you want in detail, how you want that to happen, and then you put the work into it. I know everybody isn't a believer, but just for me, I can say everything I've asked God for, everything I put the hard work into, I see the fruits of my labor from that. And I believe you can manifest anything that you want, that you will put the work into getting. You can't just speak the words and don't do nothing with it. It can't be dead works. You have to also put your own hard work into it to see, it manifest and flourish. So I believe in it. I have been an example of it, which I'll tell others, absolutely manifest what you want in life. Talk about what you want in life, speak it into existence. Um, don't speak down on yourself, speak highly of yourself, speak it as if you already are doing it. Whether that's you want to be a wife, you say, I'm a wife. I wanted to be a master loctician. I say every day, hey, I'm a master loctician. I'm a master stylist. I'm a master barber, because it's still steps that I know I'm going to do. But it's like, no, I'm already doing it. I'm already that. It already is in me. Now it's about speaking to God about it and helping him show me how to bring that out of me and to become exactly what he created me to be.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that with us. You already pretty much answered this question, but I usually, as we wrap this up, I usually ask my guests, as a result of people listening to this podcast, listening to you, we talked about motherhood, we talked about sister locks, we talked about healing, we talked about business. What is 3 points manifesting?
Yeah.
What is 3 points that a woman or man is sitting here listening to us today, no matter where they are across the world? 3 tips that you would give them, advice that they can actually apply in their life
Mhm.
for their everyday life.
Mhm. Um, follow your dreams is one. Follow your heart. If there's something that you want to do in life, listen to your heart, listen to what it is, and put it out there. Like the first step is saying what you want. And then from there, work hard with whatever it is you want to do, whatever craft it is, no matter whatever it is you're going into, whether it's nursing, whether it's engineering, whether it's hair, whatever the case may be, the beauty industry. Like give 100% to it, because that if that's your craft and that's what you're seeing, that's what it has to be something that you would do even if you weren't getting paid anything for it. Like you eat, you sleep, you dream it. If that's what you really want to do, put 100% into that craft. Learn everything you can about it, because you never can stop learning. You never ever can stop learning. If you get into the point where you feel like you've reached that pivotal point, that's not good, because you can always learn. So learn everything you can about it. Put as many hours into you can about your craft to becoming a master in that craft, where eventually if you want to teach and everything, you'll be able to. And I would also say, love yourself within that time. Also, make sure you're doing healing yourself, being try to be the best version of yourself you could be, because that's going to make you better at whatever it is you do in life, no matter what it is. Do self-care for yourself, do therapy. I feel like therapy is amazing. That's always been a thing that's shunned in the community, like to make you look crazy, but it isn't. It's to help heal. It could be traumas that you haven't dealt with that could be holding you back from stepping into your creative platform that you need to be the best version of yourself. So if you are going to be the best do everything. Read books, get the therapy you need. You start to branch out and go to different events and everything that helps you be the best version of you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now, Marketa, you are right here in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. Please tell people where they can come get this hair online.
I'm on. You can actually find me on my Booksy app as well too, under Essentially Beautiful LLC, which lists all my services, and you'll still see stuff be added on as I take different classes, as I become better. But my shop is located at 2154 Ninth Avenue South. I'm in Unit A. They can book like consultations right on my Booksy site. Is up and running to where if you're interested in becoming locked, you're ready to embrace your natural you, which is my slogan, embrace your natural you. Absolutely reach out to me. My number also is on the screen as well too, where they can call if they're having issues with the Booksy app, because I know even myself, like I'm not tech savvy. I'm having to learn all of that now with a website, but they can call me as well too and book like consultation appointments where we can go from there. Because I always am going to start off with a consultation to gather information about the person and learn about them, to make sure that they are a right candidate for whatever they're getting.
Absolutely. And that number is 727-417. I'm waiting to wait, let me say it again, y'all. 727-417-5704. For those that's not watching via screen, you can actually call 727-417-5704. Look, she got people from all around the country that comes in and sit in her chair. So no matter where you are on the planet and you're looking for a good loctician, I highly recommend my Sister Marketa, my sister loctician. Marketa, what's next for you? What do you have next coming
So
up?
now I'm working on my own hair care products, because I definitely want to eventually have a storefront. So I've been working on my products. doing a shampoo, a conditioner, a oil, like a hydration mist spray for the hair, and a gel. I'm starting off with those because those seem to be the most wanted um things that everyone always asks me for, even when they come in the shop or so. So that's my next step. I'm also still like teaching dancing as well too, because all of that is like a part of me. The dancing and the hair, they all for me, they all coincide. I do my goal, and I know it's going to happen. I'm going to have another shop as well too, to where I want like a one-stop shop type of shop where you can come and get massages, you can come and get your nails done as well too. I want to have an all-in-one where people can come and get everything they need and go out of here feeling great. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I can tell you before you even get to that stage, we already feel great right now, right where you are. So thank you so much for just being essentially beautiful. And let's continue to go and grow together. As my hair grow, I know we're going to continue to grow. So for those of you that's listening and watching, no matter where you are in the country, I definitely highly, highly, highly recommend Marketa. And so I'm going to pull you in the back as I do my announcements. And I want to thank you so very much for spending time with me. And again, we locked in. All right. Thank you. And let me just say this. Les Brown says bet on you.
Yes.
And if I've seen any person that betted on themselves, it is you. So continue to bet on you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. So there you have it. You have Marketa, who has absolutely been essentially beautiful right here on the Heal on Purpose podcast. Her whole story was just healing within. And I mean, we can pass that story down for generations and generations to come, and someone can learn from that story. And so with that being said, Sister Naira and Brother David, as it relates to healing, generational healing, we are having our Ignition Transformational Life Coaching Retreat coming up in August 2nd through the 5th. Oh, yeah. And Marketa's going to be there, y'all. Okay. August 2nd through the 5th. Come get up close and personal with building relationships, mother, daughter, father, son retreat. You don't have to be a mother per se or a father. We're just inviting families to come and be a part of this wonderful retreat, 13 and up. And if you've never experienced a retreat with Sister Naira and Brother David, this is the time to go ahead and invest in yourself, invest in your family, to come to the retreat. We do have payment plans that's available that we're now booking. You can also book a one-on-one consultation to get information about the retreat. All right. And with that also being said, come on now, we need more leaders in the world. She definitely demonstrated leadership within herself, her family, her community, her business, and ultimately the world. So Sister Naira and Brother David, we're developing leaders, okay? The leader within you, personal development, family development, business development, team development, so that you can establish more freedom, more growth, more duplication, more money, right? And more just ability to be confident in the world. You don't have to have a title or position to be a leader, okay? Just you be a leader within yourself. I do have one-on-one consultations to see if this program will benefit you. And if you know anything about the repair of the Black family, we do everything in excellency, because mediocrity is not a part of our vocabulary. And it's growing too, y'all. Okay, so with that being said, go ahead and in the link in my bio as well in the comments. If you're watching via social media, you can definitely be a part of this. And we are candy cleansing the world right now, okay? We are part of this movement of the candy cleanse. If you are looking to lose weight, if you're looking to just get an overall cleanse and feel better, your mental health starts in the gut, okay? This candy cleanse will help you to remove parasites, mental clarity, mental focus, better sleep, overall better skin. It is the bomb.com. All right, all of our products and services you can obtain at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. We definitely now have Sizzle. So, sometimes y'all be like, girl, get it on a payment plan. All right. All right. And the last but not least, I travel nowhere without my sea moss gummies. They are in my purse. If you want to know what's in my purse, I do have a bottle of sea moss gummies. Okay. 102 trace minerals right there in your purse, in your car. No matter where you are, you can boost your immune system. also help your skin to become better, and it's good for the gut health. With that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to the Heal on Purpose podcast. And I'll just go ahead and leave you with that famous quote from Mr. Les Brown: bet on you. Okay. With that being said, thank you so very much. We out of here.